You guys may be wondering, where's Aztecross? He still has a severe sore throat and has asked me to step in for this recording. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Les, or Say Less, or as y'all may know me as the guy who always carries Aztecross. He's always getting the god rolls for complaining about the game. So please excuse the mic quality and let's get started with the deep dive to the new land beyond. Over the years, we've seen many weapons from Destiny 1 make their way into Destiny 2, even weapons we never expected. Seeing weapons like Galahorn or Icebreaker inside of Destiny 2 was something as a community we were not expecting to happen. Perhaps the top of the list is the topic of today's video, New Land Beyond. This of course is a reissuing of the No Land Beyond exotic sniper rifle from Destiny 1. Not only did Bungie bring this back to us, but similar to Galahorn and Icebreaker, they fundamentally changed the weapon's function to fit it into our current sandbox, and the results were quite surprising. So in today's video, we're going to deep dive into New Land Beyond and figure out what makes it stand out, what's changed, and more importantly, is it even worth using? Starting off, for those who don't know, you can obtain New Land Beyond right now if you pre-order the new expansion, the Edge of Fate. So much like Quicksilver or Tessellation in the past, you can pay now to get this gun a few months early or wait until Edge of Fate, where there should be some sort of way to earn it for free. Similar to years past, this weapon doesn't have an exotic catalyst yet, but expect it to get one when the Edge of Fate launches. Now, right off the bat, the main difference between New Land Beyond and No Land Beyond is the fact that New Land Beyond is a special ammo sniper rifle, which if you didn't play Destiny 1 sounds normal to you. No Land Beyond actually took primary ammo back in Destiny 1, which is why it was such a menace in things like the Crucible. So you had essentially a special weapon that never ran out of ammo and could one tap to the head, on top of the fact that everyone being stuck on consoles at 30 FPS with hella aim assist. So yes, this thing was a problem, and it seemed apparent that if it were to ever be brought to Destiny 2, that would need to change, which it did. This does still of course have the iron sights compared to the normal scope, retain the iconic look from Destiny 1. Also something that was kind of kept from Destiny 1 is the ability to reload cancel. You see, you used to be able to reload then cancel the reload to bypass the rechambering of the gun, allowing you to fire much faster. Here you could do something similar where if you sprint, as soon as the bolt is pulled backwards, this will cancel the animation and you can immediately shoot. If you do it too early, this won't work, so keep that in mind. This isn't as fast as it used to be, but it is something you can pull off. New Land Beyond comes with the exotic perk The Master, which reads, scoring precision hits increases weapons damage until the wielder's defeat, massively increases ammo reserves starting with the top half first. This works exactly as stated. For landing a precision hit will grant you one stack of the Master buff. These stacks grant bonus precision damage and increases per stack. For example, at base against Carl, we hit for 88,498 damage, but then our follow-up shot with one stack hits for 102,357 damage, which is a 15.7% increase to our precision damage. But because we landed another precision hit, this grants us an additional stack of the Master, which further increases our damage up to 108,097 damage, which is a 22.2% increase. This is the main gimmick of this weapon. As you land precision shots, you further increase precision damage. This can technically stack up to times 100, but more on that in just a second. These stacks last forever as long as you don't die. There isn't a timer present. They persist through weapon stows, but as soon as you die, you'll lose all your stacks. Now, upon reaching 20 stacks, the text in the bottom left will change from the Master to the Grandmaster. This increases our precision damage by whopping 70% over base, with one shot dealing 150,447 damage. As mentioned previously, this will keep stacking all the way up to times 100, and at that point, the text will change to say the Grander Master, which is a funny little Easter egg from Bungie. And after times 20, you will keep increasing precision damage, but at a much slower rate. For example, from no stacks to times 20, this is a 70% increase to precision damage, but from times 20 to times 100, it only increases by a total of 3%, which takes our total at 100 stacks to 153,102. So while yes, you can get to times 100, times 20 is what you should be aiming for when we're talking about everyday play, as the time investment to get to times 100 isn't worth just 3% damage. Also, before moving on, I do want to mention that the damage increase is strictly for precision damage. As you can see here, we deal the same body shot damage to Carl at times 100 as we do at times 4. Also, after getting to 20 stacks, you may notice it seems like your bullets are exploding. This just seems to be purely visual, as your shots don't deal any extra explosive damage or anything like that. Moving on to the second half of the perk, this states that it massively increases ammo reserves. This is a huge part of this weapon and why making it special ammo as opposed to primary ammo isn't much of a problem for PvE. For starters, at base, you can hold up to 45 total ammo with 8 in the mag and 37 in the reserves. This is a ton of ammo and puts New Land Beyond on par with rocket sidearms, who are notorious for their great ammo economy. On top of that, you also pick up tons of ammo per normal special brick. With no scavenger mods on, we were getting anywhere from 12 to 15 ammo per brick, which is great. These two things combined make it so you really won't be running into many, if any, ammo issues while using New Land Beyond. This also comes with the exotic trait Bullseye Bolster, which reads, landing a precision hit substantially increases weapon's target acquisition, handling, reload speed, and stability for a short duration of time. We don't have concrete numbers on this yet since the weapon just released. However, this is something you will absolutely notice when you are using it, as the weapon feels just a bit snappier. Looking side by side at base, this takes us about 15 frames to ADS. When the perk active, it's about 12 frames. The weapon does have snapshot sights, so the ADS increase isn't as drastic, but this also affects reload speed, which is great because the rechambering speed is also based on your reload speed. At base, it takes us 1.53 seconds to rechamber a bullet after firing a shot. Then after landing a precision hit, this decreases to 1.29 seconds. This is great because you can also use kinetic loader mods if you want to increase this even further. For example, rifle at base, it takes us about 13 seconds to fire all 8 shots, but with 2 kinetic loader mods, this goes down to 12 seconds. Now, how does the new Land Beyond compare to some of our other popular damage dealing options? Well, firstly, all the damage numbers we mentioned were numbers from Carl, but remember that Carl is actually a mini boss and not a normal boss. So for comparing other weapons, we'll be using the Hydra in the Bunker E1 Lost Sector on Europa, as they are an actual boss. So starting with New Land Beyond at times 20, this hits for 57,343 damage. Then we have Izanagi's Burden with a times 4 Hone Dead shot, and this deals 88,070 damage, which is a 53.6% increase more damage than New Land Beyond. Of course though, this is just one shot, and for Izanagi this consumes 4 ammo at a time and requires a reload after every shot. Taking a look at another sniper, that being Whisper the Worm. Keep in mind this is a heavy ammo sniper that deals 41,009 damage with Whisper Breathing active, which is 40% less than New Land Beyond. Where Whisper shines is of course in a long damage phase where it can put out constant sustained damage, since you never need to reload if you're always landing precision hits. We did also look at Still Hunt paired with Celestial Nighthawk just as a point of comparison, since it too is a special ammo sniper rifle. With Celestial equipped, one shot with Cade's Retribution dealt 175,976 damage, which is a whopping 207% increase of times 20 New Land Beyond. Again, remember this is specifically with Celestial and it's only one shot, as you need to build that meter up again after the fact. Lastly, we want to look at Queenbreakers, since it's probably the most popular or meta option since it's got its exotic catalyst. Here it does 21,484 per shot in a 3-round burst for a total of 64,452 damage, which is 12.4% more damage. Now another weapon to keep in mind is Arbalest, which also occupies that kinetic slot. Now the reason we bring up Arbalest is because of the damage it can do to all shield types. This comparison here against the Minotaur Inspire the Watcher, at base with no stacks, New Land does 19,731 damage and takes the shield about 2/3 of the way depleted. Then against the same Minotaur using Arbalest, it deals 279,246 damage, completely depletes their void shield and leaves the Minotaur pretty much a one shot. For another comparison, we use the final boss of Ghost of Deep, where you need to destroy the shield before dealing damage. New Land is doing 37,746 damage with 4 stacks of the Master, which doesn't really do that much to the boss's shield. Swapping over to Arbalest, however, we deal 512,896 damage to the boss's shield, completely removing almost all of it in just one shot. The reason we bring this boss up is because Ghost of Deep is likely going to be the next week's dungeon featured in Rite of the Nine, which should be more difficult than ever, and I can imagine lots of folks will be taking advantage of Arbalest for that dungeon. Now this isn't to say that Arbalest is flat out better than New Land Beyond. In a direct damage comparison against the Hydra boss with no shields, Arbalest deals 29,198 damage, and New Land again was dealing 57,343 damage at 20 stacks of the Master. Another thing to note, in Heresy, New Land Beyond is benefiting from the anti-barrier sniper artifact mod, so it makes quick work of barrier champions right now. But when Edge of Fate rolls around and the artifact changes, Arbalest will still be the best of slot option for naturally dealing with shields and GM content. So this is what New Land Beyond looks like against other options with just one shot. But what about over a damage phase? We actually covered this on our first impressions we released on New Land Beyond earlier this week, but there we used it with the well at Greg and got 2,177,950 total damage. We then compared that to Whisper and it just beat it out at 2,668,063 damage. I know Whisper may have beat it out, but this is still very impressive. Remember, Whisper is a heavy weapon while New Land Beyond is a special weapon. And on top of that, the fact that it holds tons and tons of ammo. Just the fact that it's even close to Whisper in terms of damage is impressive enough, and this is without its catalyst. We obviously have no clue what the catalyst will do when we get it in Edge of Fate, but who knows, maybe this could push the damage even further, and if it does, New Land Beyond is going to be a monster. So what does this all mean? Where does New Land Beyond fit into our current sandbox? Well, I think for things like GM Nightfalls or even solo lost sectors where you need to deal with lots of champions, New Land Beyond will do great for that. The ability to chunk through champions is great, on top of having tons and tons of ammo to go along with it. Just the fact that it's in the conversation with Whisper is crazy enough. Are there better weapons for boss damage? Of course there are. Queenbreaker still absolutely shreds, and until Bungie does anything about that, I don't see many weapons coming for it in terms of damage output and ease of use. We even did a quick damage phase at Greg Queenbreakers and it broke 2.4 million damage without even trying. But again, that's a heavy weapon, and what New Land possesses as a special ammo weapon is definitely something to keep in mind. Well guys, that is it for our deep dive on New Land Beyond. Let us know in the comments below what you think, and with that, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.